Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball Super predictions for episode 11 of Dragon Ball Super, which is called Let's Keep Going Beerus, the Battle of Gods continues. And in this video, I'm obviously going to talk about what I think is going to happen to most of the main cast of characters individually, how the tone and everything along those lines is going to change, and my thoughts on what's going to happen to the rest of the characters as a whole. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. Now, first things first, I know many of you are going to want me to talk about the action, so I just want to start off by saying this. I think that personally for this episode, there's going to be a significant changing of the guard in terms of the serious moments, similar to what we saw in episode 8, where we saw the characters terrified of Beerus, how he was going to blow up the planet, and it felt a lot more tense when we saw Vegeta fighting against Beerus. And I feel like that's kind of what we're going to see, because if you look at the preview, we see Goku looking like he's struggling to fight Beerus in outer space, and obviously we knew from Battle of Gods, when they fought in outer space, that's when the fight really picked up on its intensity. And because of that, I feel like the intensity of the fight's going to change, and we're going to see a lot more struggles with Goku against Beerus in episode 11. Now, in order to reiterate to what I've said in previous prediction episodes, what's going to happen to the ship, I said that I was almost certain that the ship was going to sink because there would be no reason for them to put it on a ship, because they want to have the external factor of possibly sinking to add a lot more to the story. And to be honest with you guys, considering the fact that, you know, Bulma is now in the middle of the ocean in her little ship with the rest of the Z fighters, and when you also look at the fact that a lot of the other characters stayed behind and Goku and Beerus are flying around the Earth and eventually are going to go into outer space, I highly doubt that the ship's going to sink. Now, maybe their battle is going to cause the ship to possibly sink, or at least, you know, go into emergency maneuvers. But at this point, I'm starting to think that my prediction about the ship sinking might not come into fruition. So I'm sure many of you are going to wonder, will Goku's fight with Beerus conclude in this episode, and will we see Champa and the rest taking place afterwards? My answer to this is no, and the only reason why I'm saying this is because of what's been released for the upcoming episodes. So far, we know all the way up to episode 13, and for episode 12, it's called The Universe Crumbles, Goku vs. Beerus, and episode 13 is called Goku Surpasses Super Saiyan God, which is telling me that 13 is probably going to be an episode where Goku has to possibly surpass a Super Saiyan God in order to either probably stop the Earth from being destroyed or everything along those lines, considering episode 12 is called The Universe Crumbles, so 13 definitely would have to be a continuation after that. And because of all of this, I'm definitely going to have to say that the fight is not going to conclude in episode 11, but that could be a good or a bad thing. In terms of predictions, I'll be honest in saying, guys, at this point, I have no clue what's going to happen with Champa, considering the fact that in the manga, Champa essentially showed up when Goku arrived to confront Beerus before Goku even became a Super Saiyan God, means that we should have seen Champa in either episode 9 or at least in episode 10. At least in a very, very small scene. We haven't seen it so far, but because of the dialogue that they had with the Supreme Kais, it makes it very hard for me to believe, at least in the next few episodes, that they won't even show up at all. But in order to make a statement as to whether or not they're going to show up in episode 11 would be a stretch, and I don't want to create a huge stretch, but I think it's possible, just very, very, very unlikely considering all the circumstances that have taken place. Alright, so Mr. Twizzle always likes to leave questions for my Dragon Ball Super predictions, and he wants to know two things. Will Vegeta turn Super Saiyan God in this episode or soon afterwards? And what will the other Z fighters do in this episode? My answer to this is, considering the fact that we never saw Vegeta go Super Saiyan God, meaning the red hair transformation Super Saiyan God, we only saw Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan in Fakatsu no F, that leads me to believe that we're probably not going to see that transformation for a good amount of time, and probably near or in between up to the point of the Fakatsu no F arc. So with that said, I don't think we're going to see Super Saiyan God Vegeta. And in terms of the other characters, I just think they're just going to spectate Goku in hopes that he could, you know, hold Beerus off and, you know, attempt to save the Earth. And that's essentially what I think their role has been. It's all about Goku and Beerus at this point. Sorry, Piccolo. So, guys, that has been my video for today. Overall, I think this episode is going to be great. This is the climax of the Battle of Gods arc. We've all been waiting for this for 3 months now. I know the pacing for Dragon Ball Super has been, you know, relatively poor at times, considering that it's taken them so long to do what already took place in an hour and a half. But you know what, guys? I think from episode 6 to episode 10 so far, we've seen a huge increase in the quality of the episodes. They don't feel like a waste of time, even though episode 7 trolled us by making Vegeta power up at the end of the episode, and they saved all the good stuff for episode 8. But I think this episode is going to be great. I expect a lot of great things, and I expect a lot of, character involvement from this point on in the arc afterwards, instead of it just being about Goku and Beerus, and that's what I expect. So most importantly, over everything else, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys. By the way, guys, just to mention as an afternote, in all of my Dragon Ball Super predictions from here on out, I'm gonna leave a few seconds at the end where I'm gonna show you my up-to-date list of how I rank all the episodes, and as of right now, this is my current list. Share your list in the comment section below. Thank you.